Umkhonto WeSizwe party says it will appeal the ruling interdicting impeached Judge John Hlophe's participation in the Judicial Service Commission. The Western Cape High Court yesterday ruled in favour of the Democratic Alliance's urgent application. The DA argues that Hlophe's participation compromises the integrity of the judiciary. But the MK party has described the ruling as incompetent, irrational and blatantly political. It adds that nothing in law or the rules of Parliament prevented Hlophe from participating in the JSC. For reaction on this, we're joined by Action SA Member of Parliament Lerato Ngobeni. Lerato, appreciate your time. Could you explain why Action SA sees the High Court's interdict against John Hlophe's appointment to the JSC as a constitutional blind spot, I think is what you've called it?
No, absolutely. And good afternoon to Newzroom Afrika viewers and to yourselves. We view it as a blind spot because, the work of the courts is to uphold the highest law of the land, which is the constitution of the land. And so that is the constitution. And we are saying that, in fact, that ruling needed to go a step further, which is why we have resolved to write to the Parliamentary Constitutional Review Committee to say that the constitution needs to be then amended to stipulate, for example, in section 47, it stipulates who is fit and proper to be a member of parliament. And so, in fact, if Judge John Hlophe, former Justice John Hlophe can't participate in parliamentary organs that every MP can, then he should have never actually even been through the gates of parliament, which means that we are allowing people to come into parliament, become legislators, and yet we don't deem them to be fit and proper. And so we don't disagree with the judgment. We are believing that this is a principled issue. We should not be playing the man, we should be playing the ball. And in this case, as Action SA, we are saying we should not reduce this matter just to the person that is John Hlophe, and rather look at the larger way in which people become MPs. If, in fact, the level of scrutiny of becoming a judge can be as strict, then the people who are making laws on behalf of the people of South Africa should also meet the fit and proper test in the same way.
Lerato, how do you react to the MK party? And they've described the ruling as incompetent, and I quote, incompetent, irrational and blatantly political.
Look, we don't speak on behalf of the MK party. And as I said, we are saying, let us look at this.
I'm seeking your, I fully understand that. I'm seeking your reaction to the statement that they've made.
They have every right to respond. Like every South African, they have every right to take any court ruling on review. It's absolutely up to them to do so. We're not entering into those politics. As I said, what we are looking at is to say it means that we need fit and proper people to become MPs. You can't have the standard lower for MPs and you have it higher in spaces and in organs of parliament that all MPs are eligible for, as long as they have been sworn in as MPs, are eligible to be able to participate in. It is within the every right of any political party to be able to send off and deploy their MPs to these bodies like the Judicial Services Commission. And we are saying then this ruling needs to go a little bit further. And that's why we're saying we're taking it under review. We will be writing to the Parliamentary Constitutional Review Committee on Monday. And as you know, Parliament is in recess at the moment. It will take some time. And so we are saying that we do not want to reduce this issue to the person that is John Hlophe. We want it to be a principled issue, and that means that the Constitution of the Republic is a living document that can be upgraded. In section 47, like it says, if you are an unrehabilitated insolvent, you cannot be a member of parliament. There should be a clause within that section that includes people like impeached justices, but it doesn't say that at the current moment.
So you speak of issues of unrehabilitated, and I suppose it's an important issue to talk about, because we have individuals, some may argue that they are rehabilitated. Okay, they're individuals that have committed crimes, gone to prison, served their terms, and are members of parliament. How do you draw that line? It all seems very confusing for anybody who's looking from the sidelines.
Well, you can't be arbitrary in saying that Parliament should use its discretion. Parliamentarians are human beings, and their discretion, can be, find fault. And so we are saying that the law needs to be improved to meet the circumstances that we currently find ourselves. There's nothing that limits us from doing exactly that. That is what we are questioning as Action SA. That is what we are putting on the table to say, in fact, if there are people who should not become MPs and because they have questionable characters, it is time that South Africans have that conversation, because the standard of becoming an MP should be just as high as becoming a person who is supposed to implement the laws. You can't have people who are of a lesser standard being the ones that are responsible for drawing up the laws of our nation and then ask them to have somebody else who's higher to implement them. That's what we believe is a mismatch, and we need to bring those two areas into equilibrium and make sure that there is no equivocation or confusion that can get caused. And that is what has led to this situation. Had the law been improved, or had the law been specific around this particular matter, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. But it is an important conversation to have, and we are going to be leading the charge in doing that. We have absolutely no issue with individuals. Here we are dealing with issues of principle, and we're not attacking anyone. We're not interested in that. And we are saying that South Africans must then also require of their legislators to be fit and proper, to be upright citizens, to be people who, without reproach, to be making the laws on their own behalf. And that is the job of parliamentarians. And as parliamentarians in Action SA, that is the call that we're making. And this is why we have written and we've released a statement that has led us to this conversation.
Loud and clear. Action SA Member of Parliament Lerato Ngobeni. Appreciate your time. Thanks.